Football Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champ for your St. Louis Rams, Isaac Bruce. How you doing, Isaac?
Hey, I'm good, man. How you guys doing?
We're doing all right. What do you, I'm curious, what do you got going this weekend? Obviously, it's a huge weekend. What do you do? Are you going to be in L.A.? You going to watch a game from home? What's your setup like this weekend?
Oh, man, it's the Rams, man. I've been in L.A. Since yesterday, and really just taking in the sights, seeing teammates, current team. I'm being at the game, man. I mean, we're in the championship again, looking to bring it home, and I'm planning to be there and enjoying the festivities.
Yeah.
Isaac, I know, where your allegiance is, the loyalty to your team, but you also understand in St. Louis, there's a lot of people based on the process where the Rams up and left are not that happy with the Rams. I'm just wondering your take, because I know you love St. Louis. I know you're loyal to this city, too. So you're kind of caught in between. Just your take on the way St. Louis's fan base kind of feels disrespected, because some of the stuff that was said about the city and stuff on the way out. I'm just curious.
Well, absolutely. I've said many a times, man, I got much love for the city of St. Louis, everything that they provided for me and my family, all the love that they showed me. Coming to St. Louis in 1995 upon when the team up and left. I mean, I think me personally, from that standpoint, there's nothing but love there. However, it was a business. I feel like they've been back here in Los Angeles for quite a while right now. So, I think the Rams organization have kind of put it behind them. And I feel like a lot of fans in St. Louis, they've done the same. So, I was a football fan before we came to St. Louis, even before the Rams, being drafted by the Rams. I was a football fan. So just so happens I'm still a part of this organization. But much love to the city of St. Louis, man. I try to include them in everything I do.
And Isaac, are some of the other greatest show guys out there with you for the Super Bowl festivities? And if so, what's it like when all you guys get together? I know there's different reunions, and I'm sure at the Hall of Fame it's great to see everybody and tell stories and all that. Is it kind of like you're right back to playing again?
Oh, absolutely. It's that same locker room atmosphere. We get to catch up with each other. There's a lot of information that's going on with our children these days, academically and athletically. So we catch up on a lot of that. And, just enjoy each other's company. So it's a football atmosphere, and we just fellowship as such.
You're a Hall of Famer. Torrey Holt is a finalist again for the Hall of Fame. Folks, especially in St. Louis, that watch Torrey do his thing, think he's a no-brainer. I would assume you feel the same way.
Absolutely. He had a tremendous career ever since the day we drafted him in 1999. He's just been a consummate pro, very professional, on and out off the field. But, the selection committee, they look at what transpired on the football field. At least that's what I'm told. And when you compare his career to others, without a doubt, he's definitely had a Hall of Fame career. And if I was one of those guys in that room that was voting, it would have happened years ago.
And Isaac, does your life really change when you're a Hall of Famer? Obviously, you always had the numbers and the stats don't change and the Super Bowl. And I think everybody thought you were always a Hall of Famer and you had to wait a little bit. But once you get in, you get that jacket, do things change a little bit for you?
I think the perception from others about you, the individual, changes. I felt like, preparation was key to, going into the next season of life. And mine was no different. I kind of prepared to be a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And, just when I meet others, it kind of gives them an extra layer of excitement, definitely with sponsors and people who want you to come and be a part of their industries and companies. But as far as me just being a person, I feel like I've grown, I've developed, and it had little, if anything, to do with the Hall of Fame.
Isaac, during your time in St. Louis, is there any advice that Mike Martz gave you that you can look back now on and say this made me a better player?
Oh, absolutely. He definitely taught us routine, confidence, and some of the quotes that I say to my children to this day is, be at your best when your best is needed. So that competitive greatness, I don't think that I'll ever leave that. That'll never leave me. But that's one of my messages when I speak. So just competitive greatness and being at your best when your best is needed. And, Mike Martz, he was a tremendous leader, just really spewing confidence on us in everything that we did. And he's responsible for a lot of development. You mentioned myself. You mentioned Torrey Hope. He's definitely responsible for a lot of that player development that we had.
Hey, Isaac, I know you, of course, are rooting for the Rammies, but I do got to ask, and you play with a lot of great quarterbacks, but what do you think of this Joe Burrow kid? I mean, he's pretty special, isn't he?
Well, I think he's a phenomenal quarterback. I mean, just his maneuvering in the pocket, keeping his eyes down the field, keeping plays alive. I think he's truly the clear-cut leader of at least their offense right now. So I think his future is very bright, has a very strong arm. He's competitive. I can see a little Joe Montana in him as far as his approach to the game, his personality while playing the football game. So I think his future is very bright. Just hopefully it doesn't start to shine this coming Sunday.
And Isaac, I'm sure you're also paying close attention to the wideouts for this game. If you're looking at Cooper Kupp, OBJ for the Bengals, Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, and I like the comparison there to Joe Montana. I mean, when you see these guys, do you see yourself in any of these wideouts or former teammates? And how do you kind of evaluate these wideouts?
Well, I'll tell you what, if you like perimeter play at all, you're going to enjoy this game, considering what the Bengals bring to the table, that three-headed monster that they have. I mean, Jamar Chase is not the only one, but you throw in Tyler Boyd and Higgins, I think they make for a formidable force where the Rams defense is going to have to deal with these guys. And also they have a very talented tight end. Question is, can they hold up in the passing game versus that defensive line? But then when you switch it to the Rams, man, everything Cooper Kupp has done this year, OBJ, it's just been phenomenal. And these guys are clicking, and they're clicking at the right time. So I feel like they'll come out and it'll be a great aerial show. I feel like I just feel like the Rams will outlast them.
Isaac, I want to thank you for what you and the St. Louis Rams did for St. Louis bringing that title. But I'm one of those guys that's a little bruised that they left, I'll be honest with you. But I'm also a fair guy. When they talk about Burrow, and they talked about in the playoffs, the young quarterbacks that are obviously so impressive, I think one of the great stories is Stafford, because he has taken his game to another level. He's always been a really good quarterback on a bad team. Now he's in the playoffs. You know, he's undefeated in the playoffs as a Ram. Do you think his story is somewhat overlooked, you know, with the hysteria about all these young quarterbacks? Because I think Stafford is a great story.
Well, I think his story has been scrutinized fairly. I mean, considering where he came from, the atmosphere in Detroit, I don't think it was mainly about winning in Detroit. Unfortunately for that, I mean, there are a lot of great players that get into that situation in their career where coaching and atmosphere matters. And fortunately, he was able to facilitate a trade and get over here to a different atmosphere where you have a great coaching staff, an innovative coaching staff. You have a front office that's about winning. You can tell that from the moves that they make consistently through free agency or via trade. Or mortgaging the company, so to speak. And, you know, when a guy gets in an atmosphere like that with playmakers around him, his true talents can show up. So I think Matthew Stafford just being a part of this organization and this atmosphere has done tremendous for his career.
I also want to circle back about Mike Martz, who I loved covering because he was an interesting guy and obviously an offensive genius, no question about it. But there was always an element, because there's always something going on at Rams Park, and I know you have the most respect for him, as you should, but it was almost like he was a mad scientist in a way. Do you understand that? Like, it seemed like some of the stuff he came up was obviously transformative from a player standpoint, from an X's and O's standpoint, but it always seemed like he was in a way a mad scientist. Did you see any of that?
Well, I'll say he was always cooking up something, either on the playing field or, you know, in the classroom. But, you know, he was innovative in his approach. And I still say that there are a lot of coaches in this league right now that are trying to mimic what he put on the field. I mean, I felt like he was ahead of his time. He put a lot of route combinations together that this league hadn't seen. So he always stayed out in front of that curve, that wave that was starting to brew. And, you know, he sometimes got criticized for it, but other times, you know, especially from the people that matter, his teammates, the players that he was coaching and developing at the same time, we love him to life.
Pro Football Hall of Famer Isaac Bruce is our guest here on 590 The Fan. Isaac, Jalen Ramsey has been very vocal about wanting to cover Jamar Chase in the game. Did you ever go up against a cornerback that maybe provided some bulletin board, material for you, and did that give you any extra motivation? And then secondly, how about Dick Vermeil, a chance to get into the Hall as well?
Well, about Jalen, I tell you what, you want a guy on your team with that type of confidence. I mean, that's about what football is about. We spoke about competitive greatness a little earlier in the conversation, so he definitely has it. Absolutely. Defensive backs on this level, they have to have very short memory. And I think he has that. And, what more can I say about Coach Vermeil? I mean, just one of the most loyal people that I've ever been around. What he did in his career, taking two franchises that were in disarray and really turning them around for the better, to lead them to Super Bowls and winning one. Just a phenomenal career by a great dude. He's always there for us. And I mean, my teammates, myself, will get that call probably once a month just to check in and see how we're doing and give us an update on his life. So it'll be special for he and Torrey to be going into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, which is announced tonight, as a matter of fact.
And Isaac, I think St. Louis fans, they love you for what you did on the field, but also the fact that you really never left St. Louis with the foundation. I know the last couple of years, I'm sure COVID has thrown a wrench in some stuff. I remember a couple of years back, I played in the flag football tournament that you run. So tell us what's going on with the foundation here coming up.
Well, it's scholarship season for us. And, we got all the scholarship applications that are coming in via isaacbruce.org. We got a lot of information. After the scholarships, we'll probably start getting preparing for the free football camp and the gala later on in the year, in the season. And that foundation is booming, and I'm excited where it's headed. My plan is always to keep it in St. Louis. New entity that my wife and I have engaged in. We have an ice cream parlor, Smoosh Ice Cream.
Oh, yeah.
And, we add 2 cookies and a big hunk of ice cream in between them with all the sprinkles or whatever kind of treats you like to add to them. So we're currently offering franchise opportunities to anyone who's interested in becoming an entrepreneur. You can get all the info from isaacbruce.org or just look up Smoosh Cookies. That's SMOOSH cookies.com and get all the information you need for that.
Charlie, you're right on that, Charlie. Yeah, all right. Well, hey, Isaac, thank you for giving us your time. Enjoy yourself this weekend. It should be a great show, and, St. Louis loves you.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Isaac.
Oh, man, the
Very
big man.
cool.
The big man right there.
So his flag football tournament,
yeah.
I played with this team. It's actually Catherine Cares, the charity, the foundation there. So they had a team. And so this was probably 5 years ago. And you end up playing about four flag football games. Now, our team wasn't that great. I think we won a couple. But
You the quarterback?
I played a little bit, but I think everybody played a little quarterback.
You're jumping up for the ball, dude, right?
I was playing everywhere. I wasn't the main quarterback by any means. I think one game maybe I played a little quarterback. But
Politics, right?
Oh, yeah. But
I got hurt when I was 6.
Speaking of hurt.
Yeah.
First of all, within about 2 plays, I rolled my ankle.
Oh, God.
And then right there. But here's the other part.
How can you not, though,
Here's the thing. So this is back when I was also, I was working out a good amount. But even if you're doing
high school gyms around the area. Yeah.
Even if you're doing weights, and if you're doing cardio more so on a bike, or you're just running, you're not used to the quick twitch, right, of a flag football. I had never been more sore in my life. By the way, we played about 3 games. They let everybody have the lunch break. I didn't feel that bad until I took the lunch break, and I stopped moving, and I sat down. I think they had Chick-fil-A, and I get up. I literally, my legs wouldn't even move.
Yeah, we did that. We had a flag football tournament.
No, you played in it.
Yeah, I was in
You
there.
were on the mentality team.
Yes, I was, and we won. And
you won the whole tournament?
We won the whole tournament. And we had a bunch of big dogs. I forgot who
You had
played.
Bridge, right?
Yeah, we had Bridge. We had a good quarterback. But guys were ripping their ACL, MCL out. Remember the one dude? He's like, and he gets in the ambulance, and he's like, oh, it doesn't matter. I made the touchdown anyway. Meanwhile, you're going to be up for 8 months, homeboy.
I forgot there was a dude.
Remember that?
There was a dude. This had nothing to do with the foundation, by the way. But there was a dude who just blew up his knee or something.
Oh, and then another thing, too. When you get these football players together, just like the hockey guys, and you play a little competitive ball or puck or whatever, they get pissy with each other. Mm-hmm. And Bridge was like, blocking guys, getting in the way. You know, it was pretty funny, very competitive. I loved it.
Well, it was fun.
TJ was out there too, cruising around.
Kudos to Nate for booking that. Thank you, Nate.
Nate. Nate's great.
I also think it's pretty clear. I mean, the word class may be overused, but that guy exudes. I mean, Isaac Bruce is the definition of class.
I did ask a stupid question off the bat, though.
Are
you gonna be in L.A.? He's like, yeah, I'm going to the game.
But you didn't know that for sure.
I didn't. I should have kind of figured that one out.
You're fine.
Yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good. Jim always thinks I'm down on myself.
No, I just think you criticize yourself too much. You're great.
No, it's
I take shots at you because it's fun, but you do. I think you do a great job.
He's like, hell yeah, he's going to be there. Of course he is. But that's going to be cool, man. He is just an awesome guy, very well spoken, just smart. But no, man, he that's going to be a fun game. It's going to be interesting. But I like him a lot, and the cookie thing too. I know both of you guys' rabbit ears perked up when he was talking about them cookies with the ice cream in the middle.
Charlie senses a potential business opportunity.
Yeah,
Smoosh. Well,
Smoochy.
Hey,
Smoochy?
You'd eat a cookie if he dropped it off in front of you, right?
First of all, without even looking at the website, I think if you attach your name really anywhere, but in St. Louis, Missouri with Isaac Bruce, I think that's a pretty good bet.
Think about it. You got Isaac Bruce and delicious ice cream sandwiches with cookies. It's not just ice cream. So you're getting Isaac Bruce cookies and ice cream.
Everything.
Count me in.
And that's 100% true in terms of he never left. The foundation has always been here, and even through the awkwardness of the Rams leaving, those guys are in an awkward spot.
Yeah.
The same way that the old LA Rams folks were in a spot when the St. Louis Rams were here, the same way that the old football Cardinals are in a weird spot because they're beloved here in St. Louis, but their franchise is in Arizona. So you get why he's rooting for the Rams, and he's a Hall of Famer, and I'm sure there's all kinds of marketing opportunities and potential
big
jobs with the organization. You totally understand that. But that man has never forgotten about St. Louis. By the way, he was interested with the Battlehawks. I remember Martin and I, we had the show, and I think Isaac wanted to be the head coach, though. But look, if something comes here, Battlehawks, there's a USFL, but whatever, like Isaac is always interested.
Why would he want to do that, not the NFL?
Well, we didn't have.
No.
We didn't have that.
No, I know, but why wouldn't another team want to hire Isaac? Is he available? If teams are calling him to be some sort of coach, I mean, would he take that job? You think I should ask him?
Yeah,
that,
I don't know what he wants to do, but I would think receivers coach, or maybe he wants to stay home, but maybe he wants to do something in St. Louis. Maybe he doesn't want to move away from his family. I don't know.
Maybe he just wants to do charity work and chill.
Be a Hall of Famer. You mentioned it. He's done a great job of the balancing act that a former Ram has to do, because it's clear he loves St. Louis, but that's your team, so you got to balance. He's done a good job.
Timmy Van Gelder chimes in and goes, Stanford also led the league in picks and pick sixes. Let's hope that guy shows up Sunday.
Yeah, him and Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, I don't know.
I like Stafford.
Seems like a great guy.
I mean, he's, to me, you look at the Rams, and I know they've been there before, but I just think he's been the difference maker to get them to where they are. And what time does the Super Bowl actually start?
5:30?
45-ish.
Because I got
you got basketball?
I got to coach 2 games.
Are you kidding? Jimmy, put your foot down. Once in a while. I know you're going to say, like, I don't not – but come on. Like, doesn't Tyler want to watch a football game?
Excuse me, it's for the kids.
Doesn't Tyler want to watch a football game?
For the kids.
Don't the kids want to watch a football game?
I don't do the schedule.
I know, dude. That sucks.
And I got to
put your foot down.
I got to tell you,
put your foot down.
Coach Greg is the head coach, and this guy, through scheduling, with things being canceled because of snow and having to change around games, with the different protocols for COVID.
God.
This guy, I thank him every practice, and then I think to myself, it's great to not be the head coach.
I know.
He puts in a ton of work, so yeah, I'm not going to complain.
No, you can't complain.
This
and
guy's
doing all that.
Done a great job.
You can't just leave him out to dry like that. Rocco Director Reuter chimes in and goes, unless Isaac gets directly paid by the Rams for services, why play the good former employee role? The team crapped on the city and should be called out by the players that played here and claim they love St. Louis.
No, I disagree. I welcome all hot takes. It is Hot Take Central.
Yeah.
But you have to understand, from a player's perspective, and I try to put myself in that position, you would also be loyal to the franchise that drafted you and put a ring on your finger, and you've had great experiences with. So while you can be unhappy with what transpired, you're still going to have ties to the franchise. It would be like if 590 decided to move us to
Eureka.
Cherry Hill, New Jersey.
Oh, very expensive.
Very expensive.
Very.
But a lot of listeners there, and they go, hey, look, it's a business decision. We would still say 590 the Fan, still family. We still love them.
Yeah.
And
They
I
had to pay us a
understand.
little bit more so we could eat. Go
Look,
ahead.
I understand Isaac played the majority of his career in St. Louis. He was drafted by the LA Rams. He did play one season there. And the other part is, this man is a Hall of Famer where you got the gold jacket, you're at events, you're at the Hall of Fame. He has a team. I mean, he has to have a team. They say, Rams great. Isaac Bruce. I mean, it was the Rams. I know we're all, believe me, I'm ticked off too. But that was the Rams. That's the team that he played for.
Right.
And look, he wants to be with the greats. He wants to have. If you're a Hall of Famer, you want all of those opportunities. Like he said, how has your life changed? There are companies now, whether it's endorsements, marketing. Look, he was always a great player, but there's a different level when you're a Hall of Famer. When you're on that commercial,
Dude.
and you can show off the gold jacket,
Yes.
and you can say Pro Football Hall of Famer. That's a different stratosphere.
Yeah.
What about if you were once nominated, say, for a cable ace? Does that kind of put you in that category too?
Several tiers below.
But close.
Tim Tenzin goes, Cat sounds like he's bucking for the Rams sideline reporter. Ooh.
No, I got a good gig. Like,
I know. You're
I like the Cardinals. Like it's a good organization. The players have been great. We like St. It's good.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I'm not saying that he actually thinks I was bucking for that, but in fairness, if you're Isaac Bruce, regardless of where the ownership put the team, that is still your franchise.
Exactly.
I don't expect the players to rail against.
glad you said that because I completely agree with that.
But the other part of this is Isaac has been on every radio show and TV show for the last 7 years.
Yeah.
He's been asked all these questions when St. Louis was trashed on the way out. I mean, I know he was asked a million times, and every time he said that's not true. St. Louis is great. The football fans are great. I mean, he's said that for
He's
6+
but
years.
he's got to do what he's got to do.
Yeah, but he never really went on the record on Hot Take Central.
No.
Sure, and
That's
by the
why I
way,
had to get him on the record.
I think isn't DeMarco still doing the sidelines?
I don't know.
I feel like I see him on the sidelines every once in a while. You'll see a pass up the sideline, and he's down there with the microphone. Am I wrong?
No, he's on the broadcast.
Yeah.
It's Maurice
D.
Jones-Drew, I believe, J.B. Long, and DeMarco Farr. And also, you got to keep in mind, Isaac Bruce in '94 was an L.A. Ram.
Right.
Yeah.
So made his way to St. Louis. So I don't know.
Well, everybody's going to be so many people are going to be gambling on this game Sunday, and you got to go to MyBookie, baby. That's what you do. The biggest game of the year. Let's go. Make that coin. Make that coin. Go to MyBookie. Listen, they'll double your deposit bonus, and make sure you won't. They're going to make sure that they're going to. Sorry, I screwed this live read up. Good Lord.
3, 2, and 1.
Your team might miss the big game last year, but MyBookie's double deposit bonus make sure that you don't. With tons of exciting prop bets to choose from, there are hundreds of options to make this your most exciting Super Bowl party yet. Although those guys aren't going to go to any Super Bowl parties because they're going to sit at home and just watch it from home. That's fine. I am going to go to a party, and I am going to start. I am going to gamble a little bit. Sign up for MyBookie and do it right now. Put the promo code in Bet590. Bet590, and you'll get your double deposit bonus right there. I'm telling you, MyBookie, they're giving away a chance to call your own shot by submitting your own Super Bowl prop bet to be featured on site for the big game. All you have to do is comment on the MyBookie Twitter page at MyBookie to get your prop bet featured. Don't miss out. Head to MyBookie and double your first deposit up to $1,000. Use the promo code Bet590 to place your bets. Listen, you bet anything, anytime, anywhere with a MyBookie.
Speaking of gambling, and we'll give our picks.
Ad live read.
We'll give our picks tomorrow.
Yeah.
But with Super Bowl with the squares, so I can't complain because it was the Rams Super Bowl that I hit 2 squares on a nice $100 square.
Yeah, dude.
Contest. So
Yeah, dude.
I don't ever deserve to win ever again. And Greg Zuerlein missing that field goal at the end got me to win the third quarter and the fourth quarter. So I'll probably never win again, and that's fair.
So you won $200? Is that?
No, I won $1,600.
1600, baby. You hit that square.
It was a $100 contest, and you got $800 per quarter. And I had 3-0. We talked about this. I think the score was 3-zip after
that
third
boring
quarter,
game, yeah.
and it was 13-10 after. Well, I can't remember. But anyway, Zuerlein missed a field goal at the end. 23-10. I can't remember. Either way, it won me the second square.
Now we know how you feel. Like certain laws, like speeds, shouldn't be in place. What about taxes on winnings of gambling?
Not when it's for charity. And of course, you always have a loss. You always then, right after you have a win, you have that loss that balances it out. It's weird how at the end of every year, you're always at 0.00.
Funny how that works.
But I bring this up because, so the same contest, I told my buddy, look, because I did well 5 years ago, I'm going to do your square every single time. And he keeps upping it. But it is for charity. I got 5 and 2. The worst numbers possible. 2's the worst.
Yep.
Where are you ever going to get 2? So I'm now having to 35 is my only shot at 5, unless there's ridiculous missed extra points and safety. So I'm basically having to root for safeties and missed extra points.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a high-scoring game one way or the other. We're going to break that all down tomorrow anyway. 855-282-8255, Bertarelli Cutlery text line here. Tim chimes back in and goes, when L.A. Charlie goes to the Bradley Hall of Fame, going with the station and the Upper Peninsula might flag turncoat.
That would be different because, all right, that was a different company.
Yeah.
It's a different company. That would be more like if your company moved from state to a different state.
Is a backup quarterback like the easiest position in sports? I mean, is that the easiest position in sports?
Okay, I get it because like Chase Daniel has
good
made
guy, by the way,
awesome guy, great college player, wonderful guy. He's made what
$45 million, I think,
right?
Jimmy.
And he's played a handful of games, so it's probably easy, but you also have to learn everything that the starter does, and then. If you're part of a team that's doing something and the starter goes down, can you imagine the pressure?
Yeah.
You were walking around drinking Gatorade and carrying a clipboard,
but
it's yours.
But you got
to be ready.
You have to know the system no matter what. Even if you're just a practice guy, you're going to have to know that one way or the other. So it's like you're getting paid a ton of money just to know it and maybe have a couple snaps here and there. So, yeah, the money you can make. Backup goalies get in more, I guess. I'm trying to think like backup goalie, but you're not making that much money as a backup goalie. Maybe some do, but I think backup quarterback, just you're not getting hit. You just know
it all worked out great for Chase.
Yeah,
I would have liked to have seen him get more run because I honestly, every time he played, he seemed to do well.
Here's why it's not the greatest job, though. Because deep down, these dudes are competitors, and they don't want to be the backup.
You're right, Charlie. No doubt.
They want to be the starter, winning the Super Bowl, making the $25 million a year, even though Chase Daniel has made a nice amount of money.
But if that's where you're at in your career, you're a backup quarterback. That's what you are. And you're able to make 45 schmil without getting rocked that much. Yeah, you want to be the main man, but you're doing okay for not being the main man. Because a lot of people aren't the main man and they ain't got no 45 schmil. So, yeah, dude, I don't know. It's interesting. We said that the offensive linemen were the most boring position in all sports. Backup quarterback, the easiest position in all sports.
Offensive linemen take a beating.
Ugh.
A beating. They earn every penny of what they make.
And no one talks about them. It's kind of a boring job. You just push a guy and you fall on people and they fall on you, and it's just like,
I think the days of it is true you can't name everyone's, offensive line, but the offensive linemen get paid now, which is, they get paid because people understand the value. And I hear this all the time. If you're starting a football team, if you're starting a new one, you want to start with a good offensive line. So, yeah, they're appreciated, though you don't know everyone's offensive tackle or center.
Yeah. Which is why, of course, I want the Rams to lose. I think I'll even bet the Bengals if you're giving me 4.5. That might be wishful thinking that they'll keep it close. I do think, from a matchup standpoint, this could be nightmarish because the Bengals' O-line is awful.
Yeah,
and you're facing
he's going to get
two
rocked.
Hall of Famers.
They played well in the championship game, right? They did. They played. I think they exceeded expectations.
Well, 100% because they're literally awful. And I'm not trying to say that. You just look at it statistically. Yeah. They're one of the worst lines in football. Even one of the games they won. Didn't they give up 9 sacks?
9 sacks, yep.
So, again, clearly Burrow's a stud. Their defense shutting down the Chiefs for the second half is amazing. Their pass catchers, even though Zuma is hurt, they have great they have great pass catchers, Joe Mixon. I mean, they have a good offense overall, but their weakness by far is the offensive line. And when you're facing literally the best defensive lineman in the league, and maybe in the history of football, and Aaron Donald, Von Miller's not Von Miller from 5 years ago, but he's still a Hall of Famer. I mean, that could be just an absolute mismatch.
I think the Bengals are a lot like this show. They're talking about the offensive line of the Bengals, right? We're a work in progress. Some would say worst show in the league, right?
Sure.
But we're coming on and we're learning, we're getting better. People, you can't just forget the fact that Mahomes was sacked more than Burrow was, right? I mean, so they exceeded expectations. Like this show, they're coming together.
Right, and look, you can absolutely exceed expectations. I think in the playoffs, there's certainly some one-game weirdness. Like, I never would have thought that the Bengals would have beaten the Chiefs. And I said, I watched that first half, and I took my dog for a walk, and I couldn't believe I came back 30 minutes later, and that was the game. I couldn't believe it.
Somebody on Twitter broke down Burrow in a couple plays that he had where he kind of scrambled away from the pocket, duck over a guy, sprinted from point A to point B, opened up his hips like he's going to throw the ball, then comes back and gets the first down, and they kind of broke it down and just showed how athletic he was. They did that 4 or 5 times on different plays.
But he's great. So is Mahomes. And based on the Chiefs' defense, I mean, to me, that could have been the most unlikely bet. If you bet that the Bengals would protect Burrow better than the Chiefs protected Mahomes, I mean, you could have gotten really steep odds. To me, that was the biggest upset of the day, is that the offensive line for the Bengals outperformed that of the Chiefs, it's one of the best O-lines in football.
So the final Pro Football Focus rankings, this is after the regular season, the Bengals were the 20th best offensive line.
Oh, okay.
So basically bottom third-ish of the NFL.
Somebody chimed in and goes, backup kicker seems easy enough. They're not making that much.
Well, you don't even have one.
Yeah, do you have a backup kicker?
No.
Yeah, well, that doesn't exist then, Mitch. Yeah,
you got one on your practice squad, right?
And you're not making that much money. I mean, if you compare the money situation to being a backup quarterback, you're getting paid a lot more money. I don't know. Listen, football's tough no matter what. Listen, football practice and knowing just like you said, just knowing every part of the system, just remembering things, and, just the practices are grueling. I don't know. It's a tough sport, man.
And the truth is, in football, and we've seen this with Brady, who was great at an advanced age, the quarterbacks that can identify coverages. So you're not worried just about what your offensive sets are. You have to identify what the defense is doing. Yep. And to be able to do that efficiently as a backup without getting as many reps in practice, or you got to be ready. So there's a lot of pressure coming.
And you know what? It's different than playing every other day in hockey and basketball where you're in the groove. You're playing every other day, you're traveling. In football, you grind it, physical grind. And then the whole week's all mental stuff. You're studying for a test. You're studying to see what the other team's plays are. So it's just you're using your brain power so many different ways, and you're getting rocked in practice too. So that's a tough one, man. In hockey, you're I know everything's muscle memory. I know where to go. I know what system to play, whatever. But in football, it's you really have to study.
You know what? One of the toughest things in all of sports to do, since we're talking about backup quarterbacks, pinch hitting in Major League Baseball. Yeah. And there are guys that have kind of made their bones as bench players coming off the bench and pinch hitting. It's really hard to find people with great career pinch hitting stats because it's so difficult. You get one chance.
Yeah, dude.
And
you're cold.
You haven't gotten swings. You're watching the pitcher, but you haven't gotten swings against him. You haven't seen him up close from the plate. And it's like a priceless situation. Over the years doing interviews and stuff, they say you have to be ready for that one pitch. Some players will tell you get probably per at bat against good pitching 2 pitches that you can hit. You got to be ready to drive it somewhere.
No doubt.
And you have to be ready. You have to swing hard. That's what some of the pinch hitters have told me. You're not up there to dink one or dunk one. You have to be ready to try to square up a ball.
Go ahead, Charlie, and I got a question.
Well, only because you brought it up earlier. I did look up his stats. Steve Balboni, 181 career homers, 1 career stolen base. How about that?
So you're saying he wasn't well-rounded enough to be a major league hitting coach?
I just
don't
like
listen
that,
to him talk about baseball knowledge.
I looked it up too. He had 30-something homers once, and then 29 and 28. He's always one of those guys, like sort of the Jed Jerko numbers, where Jed would have 26 homers and 54 runs batted in. Yeah, I don't think Balboni ever went over 100 RBI.
What's 88?
What do you guys think the hardest job in sports is? Now you got to take in consideration the money factor. Yeah, quarterback's a hard job, but you're the big boy and you're making the big time coin. What would it be? I mean, I have a guess. Now it's not.
Define what hardest is. You mean
the most
hardest to be the best at?
The less, mentally, physically, not as much money, just everything kind of combined. Because there could be something, again, like a quarterback, but it's difficult, but you're making a lot of money. So what would be the opposite of that, where you're not making that much money, but yet your job's pretty damn difficult? I got one guess on that would probably be a heavyweight in the NHL. You're not making as much money. You got to fight guys every other night. You don't know what the hell you're going to get knocked out.
Not as much anymore.
Well, that's what I mean. Like in the 90s, and like when I played, I think that probably could, because although you are popular in your town and you could feed off that after hockey, which is always good. You're the popular guy, even though you're not playing that much. But maybe like a penalty killer that doesn't make that much money and he takes shots off the ankle and no one really knows who he is because he's just not that loud.
I'll say the hardest job, and maybe there's two of them, just because the shelf life. Like, if you're a running back in the NFL, some of them have long careers and make a lot of money. But the shelf life of being a consistently good running back is really short. So you got to make your money while you can. And that's why you see guys great one year and, hey, whatever happened. We see that all the time. Closer in baseball, I don't know if it's the mental side. I don't know if guys catch up to them, but they're almost disposable. The guys like Mariano Rivera are few and far between. Billy White, guys who have done it for long periods of time. You see guys that are suddenly, they're closing games. He had 30 saves, and 2 years later, he's not even in the league. I wonder if that's mental strain or the toll it takes on your arm. But those are two that stand out to me. I'm just spitballing here,
yeah,
Seth.
Baby. That's what we do.
Were those
here.
Okay?
I agree. The one that stands out is Eric Gagne. When you say that, he was amazing. I think he was an MVP candidate one year.
He had some help.
Yeah, he was a steroid guy, yeah.
We need to start a league for him.
So I do think now, if you're a big-time closer, you do get paid.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. So here's a good example of that. I had a buddy who's a big fantasy baseball nerd. He calls me. He goes, "Who's going to be the Cardinals closer?"
Mr. Insider.
Well, I said, I have no freaking clue. I said the same thing last year. Now, I threw out Alex Reyes as a possibility, but nobody knew that. And so I think you're going to have more matchups in terms of closing. Like, I don't think the Cardinals care that their closer is not 100% set. Now, it very well might be Alex Reyes again, but they're going to stretch Alex Reyes out and see if he can be a starter. There's not really a spot unless there's an injury. But I think teams go into a season. The Cardinals are going to be very good this year. I think we all believe that. On paper, they're pretty dang good. And I don't think they mind that their closing could be a committee of Alex Reyes, Gio Gallegos, maybe Genesis Cabrera as a lefty matchup. I just don't think teams, hey, we got to have that proven name 40 save closer. No, they go, you know what? That dude has an electric arm, and we can use him in his best situations in high leverage spots.
I agree.
And he can get us 8 saves, and we can piece that together.
I agree. And some organizations view it differently. The Cardinals do look at it as fluid. Here's the other guy, too, which I always found odd. He's got great stuff coming off an injury. Hicks. We heard that they're going to look at him as a starter. You're going to look at Reyes as a starter. Now, the thing about starting pitching is you think you have enough, and you never do. So I understand why they're doing that. But I wouldn't be surprised, because if I'm the Cardinals, Hicks is in my bullpen, right? I mean, and they got arms out there. Helsley, there's a lot of things that the Cardinals can do with their bullpen, so they're not concerned. But Hicks, I always think he gets overlooked because he's coming off injury. You don't know how he's going to respond.
I think with Hicks, I'm not a doctor, as you all know, but I think Hicks is your prototypical reliever / closer in terms of his stuff and the fact that he throws so hard. But it seems like through the last couple of injuries that the medical staff of the Cardinals has made the decision that they think his body, his arm would recover better from a starting workflow. Because to me, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that you turn that dude who, if he's healthy, should be the guy who gets 40 saves and throws 100 into a starter. I think they're looking at his arm and how it recovers, and that it'll better recover from throwing 80 to 100 pitches every 5 days.
If it fits, and they have other options. I mean, their starting rotation should,
right.
I say should with air quotes, be really good where there wouldn't be a spot. You never know how it all shakes out. But people don't understand. Hicks has a repertoire.
Yeah.
He really only uses a couple pitches as a closer, but he can do more. And instead of throwing 103, maybe he ramps it down as a starter to 97. We saw Carlos Martinez be able to do that as well. I don't know, but they are stocked, in my opinion, of guys who could be in the bullpen and be very good.
Another guy you mentioned, Ryan Helsley. I know whatever he's got, because we haven't really talked to the players, whatever injury-wise was going on, and he certainly regressed in 2021. But if you'd asked me last year, could Ryan Helsley be your closer? I would have said absolutely. And it would not shock me if Ryan Helsley is able to bounce back with that arm and that he could be an important high-leverage reliever for them.
I'll tell you this, though. The hardest position, one of the hardest positions in sports besides a goalie in hockey, is a catcher in baseball. I mean, Yachty, your knees, you have to be in every play. You know, you have to be on the ball. You got the ball coming at you. It's getting tipped. You're getting rocked. You're throwing a second. You're throwing your arm out. Then you got to do that. Then you got to bat. Being a catcher is very, very difficult. And they should get paid a ton of money.
One other thing, and it might seem self-serving, but I think once you hear my argument, you'll understand. Sideline reporting is not easy. So, I got to do 2 hits in the pregame show, and that's a lot of work. And then you do 3 hits in the game, but there are times where you have to be at the spot to do your hit, where you know they're putting out fresh hot dogs in the press box.
Oh.
And you have to do without that so you can do your hit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm like? People don't understand the sacrifices that are made to do quality regional cable journalism.
Right.
Sure.
It's tough. It is tough.
You see
we
what
all
I'm
feel
saying?
sorry
Oh,
for you.
God, yes.
We all feel sorry
Oh,
for you.
man.
Thank you, Charlie.
I mean, the media, the real heroes,
Yeah.
it's not just really
Teachers?
people who are embedded overseas, that type of media. No, it's the sports media.
It's the sports media.
When I always think about true heroes, it's the folks that, after something happens, even though we all watched it on TV, we listened on the radio, but they then also tell you again what happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's hard to do.
I know.
And, through the economic turmoil as a result of pandemic and everything associated with the virus, the lack of opportunity for free food for media people, sports media people in general, there's a lot of things that people don't consider.
Nate wants all the sports writers to play in a baseball game so he can evaluate them, right, Nate?
Yeah. No, I'd like to put them on a cruise ship down to Guantanamo.
All of them.
Yeah.
Now, hold on. You're a part of the media. Are you saying just writers?
I'm not part of the media.
Oh, yes,
No,
you
he's
are. What
not.
are you
I'm
talking
not.
about? No.
No.
He's like,
No, you are.
I'm too elite for the media.
Do you really not think you're part of the sports media?
I would never call myself part of the media.
Well,
no.
But no, you are.
But
Am
the
I?
truth is,
Yes. You're on a radio show.
You're not one of those guys that go, I'm a media member.
No.
You're not that guy.
No,
But
No.
you are a bona fide person in the St. Louis media. Yes, you are.
I don't consider myself a media guy, but
You
I
are.
consider you two media
Why?
guys.
Why?
Because it's more like a professional thing. I talk about nothing on here.
No, here's the thing.
I'm not asking questions for anybody.
You're doing whatever you're doing is as hard as anything else any other media guys. I will say the guys that have to write long form stories and research, tip of my cap. You're probably doing a little bit more to prepare than we do for this show, so I'm not blind to that. But you are a media member, but it is part of the deal. You are an elite. You're at the top because you were a player. Now you're a scrub like me and Charlie. Now you're a scrub
Now
like
I'm
me
all
and
the
Charlie.
same.
But here's the
Everybody
deal. Now, we don't have enough time to turn this into a broader conversation. But I think this is when we talk about the media big picture, I think, so you don't look at yourself as a media member because you played, which I get it. You don't want to be like one of us because we're schlubs.
No.
Yeah.
I understand that. However, if you have a top 2 or a top 5 hockey podcast in the world, you now have a ridiculous audience. So in a way, I mean, your megaphone is bigger than anybody.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not breaking stories or anything. Well, maybe you are.
First of all, you're a bigger name than us by far just from being Camp Jansen. Your podcast is very popular. Then you tack on the extra 11 listeners we have for this show.
That's it. I'm up to 25 now.
Right, Nate?
What's up, Bob Ramsey, by the way? Rammer's coming up next. We had Travis Ford on the other day. Great guy.
Yeah, that's Frank's guy, though.
Frank got mad.
Oh, Frank got pissed.
I
didn't do it.
And then Frank was wearing, you talk about payola, he was wearing a SLU-issued
Frankie got pissed?
Is
SLU
Frank out there?
basketball.
Did we steal his
Rammer,
guest?
Rammer, come in real quick.
Get in here, Rammer, please.
So Frank's listening to Travis Ford.
Oh, boy.
As we transition from show to show,
I love you, by the way.
Frank,
I love you back.
great to see you, buddy. Great to see you, Rammer. Frank says, "What are you going to have Monique on next?" As if,
Wow.
as if.
matter of fact, we
how about
are.
this though? As if Frank owns the rights to interview Travis Ford in St. Louis. By the way, if you're SLU, you
I
want
knew
every
it.
show to be.
No,
having
I
Travis
knew him
Ford.
before you did, so I got dibs.
I mean, how about that?
I got dibs on him.
So let me ask you this, Rammer, because you're a fair guy and a straight shooter.
Okay.
I was accused of taking payola because a couple of times, like, a player had slid me, like, they get, 30 pairs of $200 sunglasses. Not the organization, but a player. And they say, hey, do you want these? Yeah, I'll take them.
Sure.
Of course, I only say nice things about that player from there forward.
Yes.
And I would never criticize him
Coincidental.
once but
Completely coincidental.
is that payola, or is Frank Cusimano wearing a SLU basketball issued pullover? Is that payola, or neither, or both?
No payola for you.
God, I like
Okay, that's good. Frank gets the SLU exemption with me.
Okay, fair
Because
enough.
because I'm on payola with SLU. So I got to protect my own.
And the only reason I brought up Frank's pullover, to be honest with you, I'm kind of jealous because I'd like one too.
Me
Because
too.
It looked good.
I am a big SLU fan.
like basketball,
I
so-
love basketball, and I, as you know, I'm a coach.
That's right. Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
Here we go.
That's right.
So
Assistant.
I'm
Here we
part
go.
Assistant coach.
like
Whose coaching tree have you begat you? First time begat on this show, I think.
I would say I'm actually a Mike Bray disciple.
Ah.
Because I
Good.
did a coach's show with him in Delaware. Wonderful guy, by
And
the
so
way.
therefore Frank, well, I'm pulling this in a big, nice circle with a bow. Frank can't get Mike Bray now because he's your guy.
Oh!
Fair. And I want to share something. We have a second because you're a college basketball guy. So I knew Bray from Delaware. So I move on, and I was in Philly. Then I come to Fox. And he had an assistant coach that he brought to Notre Dame with him, Sean Carney, I think. Sean Carney. He's probably still an assistant coach somewhere. Anyway, when SLU was looking for a head coach, that was something we covered back then on Fox Sports Midwest. And I had heard that Carney was one of the guys they were talking about.
Interesting.
So I confirmed that he was on their list. I forget how I did that. And but he wasn't seriously considered. He wasn't high up. Anyway, I had reported that Carney was on the list of SLU possibilities.
Right.
Carney called me. He goes, "What did you do?" And I go, "What do you mean?" Well, apparently he saw his name listed, and someone had picked it up, and he was getting calls, and he was on it, but he felt like he wasn't a serious candidate, and he felt bad that it was out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're just doing your job.
Just doing my job.
You're just doing your job.
Just doing my job. Bray, by
You
the
got
way,
the list.
Great guy.
Is he a great guy?
Really,
He's an unbelievable
really
coach.
A great guy. He
can coach.
At Delaware, he had a chance. I'm sorry, I kind of hijacked this.
It's okay.
At Delaware, he had a chance to get some of these guys that would show up on other teams in whatever league they were in back then. I can't even remember. And he didn't take them because he felt like he's going to have to pull some strings to get them through academically. Like I saw firsthand that this
It becomes a headache. Then.
Yeah.
It's just a distraction.
and he didn't want any of that. Good guy.
He could be coach of the year if they win the ACC.
You think so?
Don't you think?
And I could say,
Because of you.
Had something to do with it.
That's exactly right.
what you want to hear another little story?
Oh, boy.
Delaware's in the tournament.
Can we say
right?
no?
The Fighting Blue Hens?
Fighting Blue Hens are in the tournament. He got them there, and they're playing, I think, Huggins' Cincinnati team that was loaded, all JUCO guys. And Delaware, which was like a really good team, is down by like 25 at half or something. And he comes out, and this is the kind of guy he is. And I'm on Meaty Row, and I see him, and I used to joke about certain teams. You got to go with the boxing one. So I said to him, I go, boxing one. And he goes, who's the one? We can't guard any of them. And he said this at halftime of a tournament game.
So have you employed boxing one with your team?
I love it, but I'm now an assistant, and the head coach, even though the two assistants want boxing one, we don't do that. And the other ongoing debate is I'm a 2-3 guy because it's simpler, and you have more guys down low where the rebounds are.
Okay.
He's a 1-3-1, which I think leaves the corners too wide open, and teams exploit that. So we're battling with the head coach over that.
1-3-1 I like, but you're right. After a few possessions, usually the teams catch on.
And all of a sudden, guys are getting layups on the corners.
So what Travis says, I have it in my pocket. Boom, you show it, put it back. There you go.
What about old school man-to-man? I mean,
anytime you go to a zone, you're admitting you got.
Come on, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, man-to-man is what you do as a
fight
base.
through the screens.
Also, you're a youth team, and you're going to give up a couple of points because who do I have? If they know where they are on the floor, and you got to do a lot of substitutions. We got a lot of kids. Yeah. I've always been like easier to assign them a spot on the floor than figuring out who has who. So you're avoiding giving up easy baskets when you're playing these games. It's not like a high level, right? And you give up 2 easy baskets because of that, you're saving that.
Not to be too serious about it, but if you've got kids or you're at a level where kids could maybe be achievers, even if it's just being a varsity high school player someday, they really need to know man-to-man first.
Yeah.
And all those principles.
And we do a lot of man. But the truth is, too, one reason I'm not head coach is they're 7th grade now. Like I was coaching, they need someone better, so that's why.
Who could be better than you?
That's what I heard.
So does this show.
Come on.
Although I will say that a lot of these same players, under the Hayes dynasty, the Hayes era, with a lot of these, we never had a sub 500 record, not once.
Don't always call it the Hayes.
We're battling now. We're battling.
It's really called the golden age of your club.
It's just handing out juice boxes.
All right. Well, Frankie's already pissed at us enough, so we're going to have to cut this a little short because Rammer and Frankie are up next,
Thank you,
baby.
Rammer.
Thank you, guys.